So I wake up at 1:45 this morning. I need a pish. So I'm doing okay. I'm waking up twice in the middle of the night to go pish. So I think my blood glucose levels are acceptable. Because I do drink a lot. If you're getting up 4 or 5 times a day, then like Gerald, yeah. Anyway, this is not a health show. We're not going to carry on about this. But just a bit of feedback. Yeah, I did manage to fix the comment thing on the YouTube. Um, oh, how it got fixed. So why did I start off with this 1:45 business? Okay, it's coming back to me now. So I'm walking towards the toilet, and Bernice is awake. Damon, I just need to tell you something. And I look, and I think to myself, I want to shout at her and say, I'm just going for a pish. I'm just going for a pish. What do you want from me? It's 1:45 in the morning. So I go and I pish. And then I did something else. I didn't brush my teeth because I was so tired. I fell asleep. Okay, so then I also brushed my teeth because normally I would brush my teeth before I go to sleep. But last night, don't know what it was. We went to this lovely Indian restaurant in Norwood, Johannesburg, Shahi Khan, I think it's called. And I don't know, maybe the curries got me sleep. I don't know. Anyway, so I called it up after I brushed my teeth. I think to myself, okay, what does she want? Is she going to give me a big lecture now on something that I've done wrong with the perfume business? Because I often do things wrong. Basically, she fixed up the comment thing. I fixed up the comment thing. People can now comment. But then I also did something else wrong with the YouTube. It's complicated. Sure. Thank God I didn't get aggressive. Thank God I didn't moan. Thank God I remained calm. Hey, could have exploded into something. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. What do you want? I'm getting up to pish. That's how I wanted to respond. But I remained calm. I got delved into Instagram yesterday. I still don't like Instagram. I don't care. I don't care what you think. Sorry, you may disagree with me. I don't like Instagram. I don't think the functionality is good. I don't think it's obvious. To a mere simpleton as me, the little icons to touch, it's not obvious. I didn't even know that Instagram is pure photos and videos. So if I'm going to advertise and publicize this podcast, I've got to put in a video or an advert. Sorry, a video or a picture. And then will you even see the link? Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Yes. Look, this is not a health show, but just want to talk about. Before I go talk about my blood pressure, bit of feedback about my knee. Now, this is not. This is not because I'm obsessed about myself. I'm not just talking about myself. I think this is maybe helpful. It might be educational. So my knee has been very wobbly and sore, and the orthopedic surgeon told me I mustn't run ever again. And he took an X-ray of my knee, and he says I've got grade 1 osteoarthritis, which means that the cartilage is wearing down. But I thought to myself, because I had the knee injury in 1988 where I had knee surgery, left knee, tore ligaments. My theory is that if it's taken from 1988 to get to grade 1 osteoarthritis, then I'm hoping that it'll take another 32 years to get worse. That's my theory. And yes, that theory is very flawed. So anyway, I pressed on regardless, but just being very responsible, understanding my body, building up slowly. Can I tell you something now? My knee is feeling great. My knee is feeling amazing. And you know what? This is my theory, purely anecdotal. I'm not a doctor. But I think I've improved the musculature. My quadricep has got bigger. Now, your quadricep is made out of four muscles that's attached to your patella. The patella. What's the patella again? The kneecap. And the tibial tuberosity. The tibial tuberosity is the connection, the attachment, just inferior to your kneecap, your patella. So if your quadricep is developed better, you're supporting that knee, and that's where you go. Yes, I should have gone, in hindsight, I should have gone for physiotherapy. And maybe that would have sped up the process. The orthopedic surgeon did send me to physio, and I never went. So that's it. Blood pressure. I once did a show on 702 in the early 2000s where I used to get a regular caller. I forgot his name, but he was actually a well-known person 20 years beforehand. He was on some television game show, and he used to phone me every single week, and he used to say the same thing over and over again, telling me that noise kills people. That noise kills people. There's too much noise, and noise is killing people. And he went on, and he used to... Eventually, I interrogated him. I said to him, listen here, you keep on saying the same thing over and over. You need to explain. What are you talking about? How can noise kill people? Eventually, it comes out. I mean, why couldn't you just explain this in the first place? He explained that noise causes stress. Stress increases your blood pressure. High blood pressure leads to early death. So why couldn't you have just told me that 6 months before? You meet such strange people, eh? What a strange guy. And what made me think of this? I donated blood a week and a half, last week I went to go donate blood. And the guy took my blood pressure. First of all, he didn't even put the blood pressure cuff on properly. You're supposed to put it a gap above the crease of your elbow. He put it on the crease of my elbow. I wasn't going to tell him anything. Maybe that's why he's working for the blood transfusion service and he's not working ICU at Helen Joseph. Maybe. Who knows if he's even a qualified nurse or medical practitioner. Maybe he just did a day. Anyway, took my blood pressure, 146/90. So I say to him, oh, that's quite high. So I'm thinking, oh my God, they won't let me donate. Oh, no. This is okay for your age. I look at him. This is okay for my age. No. So I didn't argue with him. I reject that out of hand. No. And then I thought to myself, I'm hoping that he just didn't take my blood pressure correctly. Anyway, I'm due for my yearly physical. I'll go for my yearly physical I better go soon. I better go I'll go late, before the end of the month or beginning of October. And I must get all this checked out, make sure everything is okay. And then what got me thinking as well is dealing with stress is very underrated. This whole stress thing. And I was thinking of that South African woman, that doctor who murdered her children in New Zealand. And then immediately I thought, okay, obviously a psychiatric breakdown. And everybody's coming up with theories and prejudging it and coming up with this and that. And we don't know the full story. Let's wait and see the full story. My theory, this is just my theory, is that this woman maybe had a history of psychiatric problems, but not to the degree that it was like a huge impact on her life. Because, why do I say that? She managed to qualify as a doctor. Now, in my opinion, to qualify as a doctor, besides requiring the obvious attributes of intelligence, determination, able to handle the academia, in my opinion, it's to be able to handle stress. Because I think a major factor of passing exams, getting through that level of academia, is your ability to handle stress and be organized. Because I think handling stress in that situation is a major thing to be able to handle, the major obstacle. Because what they do is just one example, they'll give you 3 major huge exams in 3 days. Or they'll give you 3 major huge exams one day after, like maybe one day in between. That in itself, like how do you, would it kill them to give you an exam and then 4 days later the next exam? Or one exam a week? They don't. I don't. To me, to this day, I don't understand that. So the fact that this woman managed to qualify as a doctor, and I think a specialist in orthopedics at some level, they called her an orthopedic health doctor, but not an orthopedic surgeon. They called her. So she must have been able to handle stress at a very high level. Now, one of the main triggers of people who suffer from schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder or bipolar, which is also known as manic depression, very often stress is the trigger. That's why it's very common for people at the age of 18, 19, 20, because you enter university and the stress and pressure of university hits you, and there's a high incidence of psychiatric disorders at that level, at that stage of life. But this person managed to get through all of that. Another huge trigger, because in my experience, because I've witnessed this myself, is people who travel, go away. And then she wasn't just going away, she was emigrating to a foreign country. Plus COVID-19 lockdown, even more stress. Plus 3 children at a young age. Twins of 2 years old and a 4-year-old. Even more stress. Who knows what could have happened? She could have had a huge schizophrenic breakdown where she could have had delusions that the children were monsters and she had to kill the monsters. The monsters were a threat. That could very well have happened. But just a little bit of research on this. It's people with a history of depression, people with a history of psychiatric disorders. There are the rare examples of people killing their children to get back at their spouse, marital problems. That's the most rare. Anyway, horrific, terrible story. And yeah, so I can relate to this. One of the main reasons why I failed in my academia was, and in hindsight, I couldn't handle stress. I would have a big exam, and instead of just relaxing and studying, I would stare at the work and fall into this deep, morose state of depression. Terrible, suicidal thoughts, thinking of how I'm going to kill myself. Instead of studying, relax and study. So mental illness is so underrated. That's why the majority of homeless people, in the Western world, Europe, America, the majority of homeless people have psychiatric disorders. I exclude South Africa from that because of our history. But having said that, yes, a lot of homeless people also in South Africa, you might notice if you've ever struck up a conversation, they're not so well. Could be also language gap, but you pick it up. So where am I going with this? I look at Twitter in the morning and I'm looking at this, and I know this is mild and I know I shouldn't be making a big deal of it, but it makes me angry. I just get annoyed with people. So there's this guy, I'm going to call him a right-wing person because he is. I can't remember. He's either with Solidarity or AfriForum or Regstichte Nasionale Partij or the Conservative Party. Is he with the Broederbond? You know what? It's all the same. It's just names. It's irrelevant who he's with. They're all the same. Just different names, different times, different stages in history. Oh, AfriForum, we're not racist, but, we're protecting. Well, what are you protecting? Solidarity, and they call themselves, they're not political parties anymore. They're now civil rights organizations or civil something. Anyway, so this Ernst Roets, He writes, "Yesterday I was told by the waiter who welcomed me at a restaurant that I have to wear a mask while I walk from the door to my table. But once I get to my table, I can take it off. The table was 2 meters from the door." Yes, the table is 2 meters from the door and it does seem ridiculous. But there are rules. They can't make individual rules for certain meterrages. Do you understand? There could be 100 people or 50 people going into a restaurant. They can't have different rules for different meterages. They can't have a sign at each table, okay, you don't have to wear a mask. You understand that? It's just not logistically possible. Second of all, you walk from your car or from your taxi or from the pavement or from the car park into the restaurant. That period, that length of time, your mask should have been on anyway. You should have had your mask on anyway. Ooh, I'm losing it. Urgh. And here's another thing. You may have noticed we have a pandemic. Yeah, you may have noticed that. Trying to sort it out. It's devastated the economy. It's killed people. But from a worldly view, from a holistic point of view, let's just look at it from an economic point of view. We need to get rid of this pandemic. We have a problem. Do your part. You have followers, Ernst Roets, for some godforsaken reason. You have a following, you have a bit of influence. Just join the team, join society. Be helpful, don't be obstructive. Don't start putting doubt and questioning and creating a negative attitude towards what we're trying to do, and that's to fight this virus and get back to some stage of normality. Stop being so contrarian. Just join society, for crying in a bucket. You know, I know, I can relate. I'm also contrarian. I've been contrarian my whole life. But you got to get to a point where you must understand when it's the right or the wrong way to be contrarian. You understand? No, you probably don't, idiot. You know? Where were we? Sure. Oh, sorry. Slightly on maybe on the same topic. Slightly. Okay. So I often mention Nick Hudson because he's the co-founder of PANDA. I don't know. When I say co-founder, who knows who the other founder is? The other founder may have disappeared. The other founder may have died of COVID. Oh, imagine that. Oh, the founder of PANDA died of COVID. No, I'm not saying that happened. I'm saying if it did happen, it would be funny. So Nick Hudson on Twitter, I follow him on Twitter because it's important to see what these characters are up to. And again, thank you, Nick, for not blocking me. So Nick Hudson posted a photo of an owl in his garden. And he says, and this is a little visitor to my garden tonight. Mr. African wood owl says, stay calm, have courage. A nice, pleasant tweet. But imagine if I had to treat Nick Hudson's tweets the way Nick Hudson treats all other tweets, or a lot of tweets regarding COVID and regarding masks and regarding the vaccine. First of all, you violated the rights of the owl. You violated the rights of the owl. How do you know the owl wanted its photo taken? Second of all, you endangered the owl. Because there may be people who want to hunt owls, and they know where you live, Nick, and they're going to come into your garden and look for this owl. It's an invasion of the owl's privacy, Nick. Do you realize that? And I know that sounds insane, but that's what Nick and his crowd of PANDA say about mask wearing and the vaccine. And here's another thing, Nick. How do I even know that's your photo? I think you may have lifted that photo from somebody else. That may not be your photo. That's a photo your friend took, and you lying about that's not your owl. That's not your garden. It's all a lie. You're lying to us, Nick. Nick, you don't even have a garden. Nick's in an apartment, no garden. I know the truth, Nick. You're lying to us about everything. Oh, the conspiracy. And That is exactly what these organizations like PANDA and other individuals, their attitude regarding mask wearing and the vaccine and social distancing. That's exactly their attitude. And what I just said about Nick and his owl sounds completely insane, and it is insane. But there you go. I think I think that's a nice little analogy, hey? I mean, I know the other day I was telling you I must avoid analogies, but I thought that was a good analogy. Very good analogy. Crazy shit, eh? I know podcast going on for too long, so I'm actually going to end it now, believe it or not. But but just one last thing, because I forgot to mention this. Did you see the one placard in Cape Town? They showed this one lady's placard. And something along the lines of, forced to get the vaccine because I needed to travel to Switzerland and Mauritius. What a terrible, can you believe that's inhumane? Human rights violation. I'm traveling to Switzerland and Mauritius and they forced me to take the vaccine. Oh my God, what? That's Nazi Germany all over again. That is their logic. Whew, finishing off on quite a serious note, I understand. But you know what? I kept it nice and short, which I think is better.